Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm continuing on with my comparison of the Atari 2600 versus the Intellivision series, and we're still in the Parker Brothers category. Now I've already done Frogger and I've done Popeye, which are both great arcade classics, great on the arcade, great on their ports. Both of them have, their similarities and a little bit of differences. So now I'm going to move on to another arcade classic, and that is Q*bert. And Q*bert's been, it's still around today. You can still see it in those little handhelds, those little arcade units, the minis, whatever you want to call them. I mean, you can still see those in the stores today. The brand is still around, and it's been ported onto the PlayStation, and he still appears quite frequently as one of the classic arcade characters, alongside Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. But anyways, we're going to take a look at the Intellivision and the Atari one today. Now, I have played other ports of this game on my channel. I've played the VIC-20 one. I've played the, all the different ones, even the PlayStation one. So it's going to be fun to actually put these two side by side, because I have actually played both of them on my channel at, different times. I've played the Intellivision Let's Play one, and I've probably played the Atari one a few times in my live streams. So it's going to be good to see how they kind of stack up back to back. Anyways, let's start off with the Atari 2600 version like I usually do, and we'll move right into the Intellivision one after that. Okay, so we got it booted up there. So there's Q*bert at the top of his pyramid. Now, I mean, aesthetically, this is Q*bert. I mean, you can make out that those are cubes. Oops. They try to make kind of that three-dimensional shading effect. And you can see the colors are there. Q*bert looks right. He's orange. And that's your disc there. Or I don't know if it's just a disc or what they call it. It takes you up to the top. It's just a nice glowing bar. You can kind of make that out that it's going to be your lift to get up to the top. The sounds are okay, and the enemies look good. I mean, you can make out that that's Coily. He looks pretty good. He looks like a coily little snake. He's purple. And the balls, of course, they're round. Something that you don't often get on the Atari 2600 is some, the round shapes a lot of the times, and things end up becoming square. So they kept him just a nice ball shape. There's like a few of the ball characters in here. As far as, playability, this one is, fairly easy. Of course, I'm not using a proper joystick for this, unfortunately. I'm using a gamepad. I would actually prefer to use the joystick. Now, the funny thing is that with the joystick, here's an actual Atari Joystick. Most people would actually play the joystick just like this, how I'm holding it here, and actually you just use your thumb, and it's, the red button is in the top left-hand corner, and you're playing it like this, like a square. In the Q*bert manual, it actually suggests that you tilt the joystick to be on an angle. So now the button is literally in front of you, or I guess, yeah, well, it would be in front of you. And then when you're playing, you don't have to worry about going to the corners with the joystick. You just kind of play as if you would be playing something that's going right up and down. Whereas obviously Q*bert is always going on the axis, on the corner axes, which does make it difficult for a gamepad, at least for me, anyways, because I'm on the habit of wanting to go push to the corners, and you're not really supposed to do that with this game. You're just supposed to be pushing up, down, left, or right. But in your brain, you're seeing it going, I should push to the, down and to the right, but that's not what you're supposed to do. So, I mean, as far as control-wise, I think using a joystick for this game is probably more optimal than using a gamepad, and I'm sure the same problem exists when I play the Intellivision version. But I think everything is done right on this version. I think it's a nice, clean look to it. It doesn't look sloppy. It doesn't look like it was rushed or they didn't spend the time to take any care to it. Yeah, it didn't have a title screen, but that's okay. A lot of Atari games don't have a title screen, and that's fine. Oh, just landed on him. And you can see they've added in the little swearing that he does. Q*bert was probably the first video game to swear, and, you know, obviously he's not swearing. He's not saying anything, you know, like a curse word. But you can see that it's a bunch of characters, typically symbolizing that he's saying something not very nice. I mean, if you had some kind of coily guy jump on your head, I don't think you would like it either. So I think that's cool that they kept that on for the Atari version. They could have easily cut that out, you know, thinking that this needs to stay family friendly or something like that. Although we are going back to the 80s here, where we weren't in so much censorship back then. So, you know, that stuff like that could have easily been left in. But, you know, overall, I mean, this is a nice, simple, fun game. After a while, it does start to get hard. I'm not a good Q*bert player by any stretch of the imagination. I know Willie from Arcade USA, he says the same thing. He's just not very good at Q*bert. But we still play it. I mean, we got the mini arcades, we got the, you know, all different ports of it, and we still play it. So we like to punish ourselves, I guess. This is the board where you have to hit each block twice, I believe. So you have to hit it once, turn it one color. Yeah, so you're turning it yellow, and then you got to jump on it again to turn it green. Oh, I just jumped on him. I don't know why I did that. I got into the groove. Oh, and it looked like there was two more of these things, the spinning lifts. I don't know what they're called, the discs or something. But this is actually pretty decent, and I think, you know, playing this would have really given you that Q*bert feel. You know, unlike some of the other ports on the Atari where you kind of felt left out, you know, something was wrong or there was, you know, stuff visually missing. I think this one pulls it off pretty well. The sound is great too. You get nice little musical interludes. The jumping noises. I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever had a problem with this game outside of I just am not good at it. Okay, so we got the Q*bert one fired up now. Yeah, okay, so it's got a title screen. Pretty standard, though, for Intellivision to have that green, that kind of greeny color screen. And it's very simple. It's Parker Brothers presents Gottlieb's Q*bert. Copyright 1983. Alright, so let's get into the game. So there's no menu screen or anything like that. It just jumps right into the game, which is fine. But you can see, I mean, it's nice and colorful. It does look a little bit more like the arcade. It's got the Q*berts on the side there. There's Coily. He looks a little funny. But you can make it out. And, of course, he's swearing in this one as well. They didn't leave that out. I like the spinning discs on the side. They look a little bit more arcade-like. You know, they got the little animation there. It's spinning. It looks nice. Just finding this one to be a little bit more sluggish. I think that's been a common thing I've been noticing is the gameplay on the Intellivision versions isn't always as good as the Atari one, I should say. But the level design looks nice. The shading looks nice. Q*bert, I don't know about Q*bert himself. He does kind of have that look to him. This one's harder. I don't know why. Oh, I'm just finding that the enemies are just everywhere. Let's try this again. Of course, it's, you know, the same problem where I am using a gamepad, so it's not optimal. Although, if I was playing this on an actual Intellivision, I'd be probably having the same problem. Using the disc controller for this type of game, I don't know if that would be the right type of controller for this style of game. In fact, that's where I think some of the problems with the Intellivision, when it came to playing games that were arcade classics, was using the disc controller was never optimal for those style of games. Some games maybe. I mean, I found that Lock and Chase I always preferred the disc controller, but play games like Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. and Popeye, I would totally prefer a joystick, an actual joystick. Mind you, there was some third-party attachments you could actually attach to your Intellivision disc to turn it kind of into a joystick. I've never had one, I've never tried one, but they do look interesting. The music in this one is definitely better. It's a nice sound to it. The jumping noises are kind of weird. I don't know, kind of missing that nice jumping sound from Q*bert. Definitely having a harder time getting anywhere on this one. It's a lot harder. I don't know if I can get very far. Ugh. Then again, like I said, probably my joystick of choice here. Not the best. Let's get on this thing again. Just kind of like flies off the screen and then just appears there. That's some crazy noise though, some crazy sound effects. But yeah, that's definitely a lot tougher than the Atari 2600 version for sure. Okay, well, there you have it. I mean, I think that there is quite a bit of difference between the two of them. As far as gameplay is concerned, and this was pretty much the same thing I said on the Popeye one, I felt the gameplay was a lot better on the Atari. Like I said, you get to use this guy, you get to use an actual Atari joystick and play the game the way it was meant to be played. As far as the sound and graphics, though, definitely went to the Intellivision. I think that's, you know, that's pretty standard as well. The Popeye game was really nice looking. You know, there was a few parts of the Popeye game that weren't so good. But I think for this one, I think the Intellivision nailed the look and feel as far as being an arcade look to it. It's just playing it wasn't as great. I just found it was hard. The enemies were everywhere. And he just felt a little sluggish as far as moving from one block to another block. It just seemed like there was like almost like a delay. Like I'd hit the button, I would wait, and he'd just kind of go bloop. And it just, I don't know. It just wasn't as fun experience as the Atari one. I felt that I could get a lot further on the Atari one and actually see some of the other levels, whereas in the Intellivision one, I just kept losing on level 2. And that's unusual too, because usually the Intellivision is known to have the much more simpler games. So it's kind of weird that, you know, like if I compare, say, the Burger Time game, I find the Intellivision Burger Time much easier to play than the Atari counterpart. Anyways, let me know what you think. I mean, they're both Q*bert. It's another one of those games. It's great to play it even on those little handhelds. Q*bert is Q*bert. But in this case, it's, you know, there's a little bit of a difference here. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Throw some comments down below. I always like to hear what you have to say. Let me know what you think about Q*bert. Is it your favorite? Do you hate Q*bert? I know that there's like some people that just love the game, and there's a lot of people that just can't stand it. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.